Welcome to ATI Pro Media. It is November 14th, Thursday, and we are coming at you live at 9. Got some good headlines, some news out of Russia, right? Looking at Russian farmers, and guess what? They are selling wheat. No interest in holding that commodity. They want to convert it to cash. Brady and I are going to talk about that. We need to check in on Bayer stock. We need to look at that, talk about what it means for the overall ag economy and what it could mean for inputs going into next year, right? Potential there. Some other news. We've got another flash sale. It's always good to see with that. Let's start talking about it. Bring him in. Brady Huck, what do we know?
Good morning, Connor B. Another day here. Markets are moving still.
Yeah, maybe not the way we want, but guess what? It's facts, not feelings on this show. Go ahead and quote them up, and let's talk about it.
Yes, sir. All right. Dees corn right now currently down 4.5 cents, 422. Nove beans down a nickel at 10.02.5. Still trying to hang on to that $10 level. Looking over at wheat. Wheat is down 8 cents on Chicago, down 5 to 6 cents on Kansas City. Jumping over to cattle complex. Feeder cattle up in the front, down in the back. Live cattle are down a buck, 92 cents to a buck. Lean hogs down 27 to 42. Over energy markets, we got crude up 75, trying to find a floor on the energy markets. Crude up 75 points, diesel up a penny or two, nat gas down 2 to 3 cents. Looking over your equity markets, the Dow is down 35 points, the S&P down 12, NASDAQ down 72. Bitcoin running out of steam here, down 1,250 points, 89,000 on Bitcoin. Gold down 22, silver down 37. U.S. dollar climbing higher, up 17.5 points. And that's kind of a snapshot of your markets here. A lot of red on the grains, even red on the equities there too, Connor. I guess facts, not feelings.
Yeah,
Today's the day. We can't.
We're doing. I'm gonna read the headline here in about 20 seconds. We read it yesterday about these great flash sales. Yesterday was a monster, right? We had great corn sales, and you can see how well this corn market's reacting to it. And so we got another one today, a good soybean sale, 176,000 metric tons of 24-25 soybeans sold to unknown destinations, right? We're going to have a premium where we're going to just really break down the country of unknown destinations and how they're looking, how we can see that forecast. Because my gosh, talk about a great trade partner, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. We've got the weekly export data for last week. That's actually delayed because of the Veterans Day holiday. So that'll be out tomorrow morning instead of today. So most of the reports are delayed today because of the holiday. The only report that's not delayed today, Connor, is that COT, Commitment of Traders data. It still comes out on Friday. So good thing there.
We'll look at that, right? The story on the last COT report was that they finally got long, right? Funds have turned that bullish position. I can't believe, really going back to July, I can't believe we're in that position. But then it's going to be interesting to see. Are they going to stay long grains for very long? Price action today and this week tells me, I don't know. We might be seeing a short position again. Time will tell, though.
Yep, interesting spot to be. They could add to their length and send this thing to the moon, or they could get back on the short side. And with a farmer sitting on a pile of bushels here, if you get the funds selling and the farmer selling at the same time, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. Got to be careful there.
Yep, absolutely. Well, hey, we had in other news, we had CONAB numbers released.
Okay.
I'm going to break it down for you real quick. They told us a whole lot of nothing. Very little changes from the October numbers. I think the big one I'm looking at is we saw bean production tick up ever so slightly, right? Looking at 0.1%. And then they did revise 23 bean exports up a pretty good amount. Other than that, across the board, almost unchanged. Looking at the corn numbers, soybean yield, area, they didn't change anything, right? Kind of a very neutral report when I look at it. Any numbers jump out at you there?
That just, we've talked about it over and over again, that discrepancy between USDA, that gap not narrowing at all on the production side. And then on the export picture, their export number for corn and beans different than the USDA's as well. So those two things, I would love to see them come in line and agree on something, but I don't know that they ever will again, Connor.
It doesn't feel like they're going to, right? It feels like that discrepancy is going to remain. It'd be interesting to see if we see them either USDA or CONAB, right? Or if they revise it in the rearview mirror, but I don't know if they have to. The one thing that jumps out at me, and they didn't change it on this report, but I feel like it gets lost in the weeds, is looking at soybean production year on year. We are going to be up 12.5%, right? A month ago, we were debating if that production number would hold because of delayed planting. Guess what? There is no story on delayed planting anymore. They're getting the crop in time, and the weather looks pretty favorable going forward, right? We got a long way to go, but that's the story to me is when we look at Brazil soybean production, it's up 13% on the year, right? And so if we're going to be a bull on soybeans, we got to hope for maybe some, either a weather scare or, right, it's the time of year we're talking a lot of politics on this show. If we see some type of renewable fuels mandate could be the headwind, but right at the end of the day, soybean production is increasing pretty significantly down in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, let's talk about the big headline here today, the Russia wheat story. You want to dive into that a little bit here, Connor?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to pull up my notes here. But yeah, so a good one is that we're seeing, and I think it's a good time because, man, we got to look at the price action on wheat too, Brady. When I look at Chicago wheat, very weak, but Russian farmers are rushing to sell grain, right? And so the big reason is that their inflation, their interest rates are significantly high, right? Last Russian central bank hiked its key interest rate to 21% last month, the highest level in more than 20 years. Many banks are now offering short-term deposits with interest rates of up to 25%. So the Russian farmer who maybe historically has is perfectly okay holding on to the crop, sitting on that commodity and waiting for better prices, they're looking that they can convert their grain to cash, collect 25% on their interest, and they can walk away with it, right? They don't very much care what the price is when they can be, instead of maybe if they're borrowing, right? If we relate it to the American farmer, right? Are we paying 7 or can we get 4 or 5? And so a little bit more extreme in Russia, right? I don't know what they're paying, but they're getting 25%, Brady.
Wow, that's wild. I just think about our world, my world in Kansas, your world in Illinois, and then the US world, but that global monetary policy and inflation, just the global picture is, we can't ignore that, and sometimes got to step outside your own little bubble, look at what's going on out there in the world. Headline I saw in that, or a point in that article that I read, was that grain exports for Russia have met nearly half of their projected annual volume currently. So just a surge of wheat hitting the streets there, adding the pressure, that downside pressure on the wheat complex, and just burdensome to this market here.
Right. And so the story is, and I guess the hope, if we're going to, let's be wheat bulls here for a second, they're unloading it, right? Exporting a lot. Farmers are dumping it. Their reserves are very much getting decreased. And so that could be the hope, right? If I'm an American wheat farmer, is that when we get the opportunity to sell wheat, hopefully those world stocks are a little bit lower. Russian wheat stocks are significantly lower and we can see a bounce, but we got a long time to go. And guess what? Wheat grows everywhere. So I don't know if I put that, but yeah, Russian farmers unloading the wheat, converting it to cash, getting paid 25%. I think it's a good correlation. And I think it's a good topic for our premium today, Brady, is just walking through that math, right? Is it better to store grain, right? We're not getting 25% here in the United States, but is the market paying us enough to store this crop through March, April, May, June, July? Or if we have operating notes, if we can get 4 or 5%, whatever that number is it better to convert it to cash? I always love walking through that math.
Yeah, it's a good time to do that math, break it down, as farmers in our backyard are making those store sell decisions. So let's cover it in premium here this afternoon and get that out to guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what else we got? We want to talk a little. We got the drought monitor out. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's flash that up each week at 7:30 a.m. That report is not delayed. We get an update on the drought monitor. Going to flash a few graphics up here. Here's a snapshot of the latest drought monitor. A lot of red up north in South Dakota, Nebraska, kind of eastern Wyoming, Montana area, and just generally across the Corn Belt. There's a little bit of drought there. And we look at the 2-week change on the drought monitor, and you can really see the highlight of the last few weeks. Moisture in the southern plains, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, huge relief down there. I'd also highlight that Ohio River Valley as, some change there as well. And is that helping, with the Mississippi River? Here's the 8-week change looking at 2 months. That to me highlights more that degradation up there in the northern plains up north. And then, more so in that Ohio Valley as well. But I got the Mississippi River gauge in Memphis, and this is that Ohio River Valley, just that surge November 6th to current. We've seen river levels kind of skyrocket up there a little bit and get to off that low threshold. Big change there on the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I would love, it's the more things we go forward, the more things stay the same. Because I swear we were talking about the Mississippi River levels and how it healed itself last year, right around this time. We need to get that up there, just comparing year on year. So good stuff.
Feast or famine, it seems like, with these weather anymore. You're either getting hit with too much, more than you can handle, or you're just begging for a rain, and will it ever rain again? But just seems like it's feast or famine, boom or bust. But yeah, big changes there.
Absolutely. Speaking of changes, I think we need to talk overall ag economy. It's not great, right? Hope for better. But when we look at Bayer stock and look at, I don't know about you, but when you're having conversations with guys, they're not exactly super excited to start booking inputs for next year. I saw a really good article on Reuters just talking about guys are going to opt for more generic inputs, right? Maybe the little bit cheaper fungicide. And I think we can see that when we look at Bayer stock. Bayer stock's down 42% year to date. It's at something like a 20, maybe even a 20-year low for that. And so I think it's just a testament to the ag economy and how no one's in a big hurry to really book some expensive inputs, right? I think we're going to see a little bit more go for the generic version.
Yeah. Well, that's a headline in itself, being down 40% year to date. But when you compare it to the overall stock market being up, 15, 20, 25%, it just highlights, how terrible that actually is for it to roll over. Flat is not good in this environment with what the stock market's doing. If you were unchanged on your stock price, that would be below performance, right?
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So, well, let's get some questions, and I think we need to talk a little premium. We see them stacking up, and then we'll get out of here, right? We'll wrap it up. Let's pop some questions in. First one, Luke, 30% interest line of credit would be a nightmare. Plain to see why they would dump stocks, right? That's the easiest math in the books, right? Pay down that debt, and you can get 25%, right? If you had a father like I did that farmed in the 80s, he's very quick to remind you of what he the first house he bought, what that interest rate was. It wasn't 30%, but I think it was it in the 20s? I can't remember. He'll tell me in a week.
He'll remind you. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, Luke. I couldn't imagine, right? Or imagine, right? Yesterday we talked about Argentina, and right, they got inflation for the first time in a year, it's under 200%. I mean, just imagine the money play in South America is something we really don't have to deal with as the U.S. farmer, but it's incredible.
Yeah, we've been sheltered from it for a little bit, it seems like, but yeah, going forward, and it makes our numbers seem less. I don't know, just not as severe as those in other countries as they deal with those type of decisions. But we're still going to break down the math and see what these interest rates mean to you as you make that store sell decision.
Yeah, next one. Have you heard how much money per acre the USDA is paying producers to plant cover crops?
Ties into it here. It used to be roughly 10 to 18 bucks an acre, but now I've seen estimates of stacking programs up to 60 to 85 bucks an acre. Wow, that's pretty wild. With the changes going on, the Department of Government Efficiency and other things, I'm very interested to see what programs get gutted, what programs stick around, and what programs grow going forward. So let's
absolutely. I don't, but Russ, I don't know the numbers off my head in terms of the cover crops, but yeah. Go ahead, Brady.
All right. Well, let's run a little premium commercial here and talk about what guys get when they subscribe to ATI Pro Media Premium.
Run it.
Welcome to ATI Pro Media, powered by Advanced Trading. We're a financial channel that loves agriculture. For just $1 a day, you'll receive advanced trading research, actionable text, and a minimum of 6 videos a week featuring industry experts and insight. Click the button below to subscribe today.
We thank you, our premium subscribers. We value our subscribers, our customers, and those who watch every day. Luke, Russ Farm, Iowa, appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate your comments, and keep them coming. We love talking to y'all. But yeah, any closing thoughts here, Connor? What do you got on your mind here?
No, you wrapped it up. Let's keep looking at this price action. I got a feeling tomorrow we're going to talk a little exports, right? It's a new day. Who knows? But we'll see where exports come in, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, with that, we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Have a good day, Connor. We'll see